அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Good morning to all. This is Dhanashekhar from SIPMA, Supply Chain Integration of People Managers, Affinity in Alliance. I think most of the people would be already aware about SIPMA activities, and we connect with the HRs through HR Reflex, where we invite multiple HRs from various verticals to come and share their reflections for the past 1 year, which is happening on every year basis. Now, adding towards it, we have also started HR Today, where we will be sharing the HR updates as well as few important news on the HRs, which will be shared in our platform on every Monday. I am sure that you'll be watching that as well. And most awaited, we have put multiple promos on this particular program, and there are more people who will keep on asking me what you're going to do about this, what this program is all about, but I didn't tell them anything. For all those, this is the starting of the era. The program name is Voice of HR. In this particular program, we are going to interview the HR veterans, especially to share their experience, which will be a guide for the budding HR professionals, as well as where their HR best practices will be helpful for few organizations to implement in their own. So today we are going to start with the new one. I am going to interview another HR veteran. She had multiple experiences, right from ranging from Indian companies to multinational companies, as well as she had included the DEI in her company. And she is having, I think, 23 plus years of experience handling multiple verticals of HR. Most of the people in the industry knows about her, and she does not need an introduction, but still, please join me in welcoming Ms. Shoba from Lotte HR, who is the head HR of Lotte India. Welcome, ma'am. Today, we are going to take a small interview and your insights about the HR practices and what you feel about current trends, as well as what you want to give you a small opinion about to the budding HR professionals. To start with, can you please give a small introduction about you?
Thank you so much, Dhanashikar, for coming over and selecting Lotte and me for addressing this platform. It's a great honor to be here and talking about HR, which I think has been my all 23 years that I've spent my career with HR, which is very close to my heart. To talk about all that is related to HR is something that I would love doing. Thank you again for inviting me into this platform. And I'm Shoba, as Dhanashikar introduced me to all of you. Uh, I have been in the industry from the time I knew that I can contribute something to this particular industry. I started my work as an HR maybe hardly when I was 20. And from then on till today, more than 23, 24 years of experience I've spent in the industry. It's been extremely rewarding as well as challenging. So I have seen HR move from where it was 20, 25 years back to where it is here today. There's a humongous change, and the change has happened because of people like us who have contributed to ensuring that HR is in the forefront and not in the backside scenes. So, on that note, as he rightly explained, I have a gamut of experience across multiple HR fields, including international exposure. I've worked with various cultures, various organizations, multiple ethnicities. So, I could say that I've been fortunate to experience a multifaceted, HR, organizations, and also be successful in most of them.
Super, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us the insights about your experience. I'm sure that, as you rightly said, you have come across multiple work cultures as well as the ethnicities. Can you throw some light on few instances where it has shaped your leadership journey, or else where it has shown you the right path towards the HR imposition? Can you please?
Yes. So I think right from the day I decided I would be in HR, there were a few traits that I was very focused on. The first one that I learned very quickly and understood is some of the basic leadership traits that you one need to have to bring the HR profession to the forefront. One of it is the EQ. EQ plays a very important role in an HR career. And EQ is what helps you build relationships, be inclusive, and also bring that cultural amalgamation into your organization. This is something that I really learned very early in life. And the second thing that I felt, which was extremely important, was communication. HR sans communication becomes nothing. So if you want to be a catalyst, bring change management, do anything for your organization, your communication, on how you plan your communication, your change management, everything has to be very well thought of and planned. The third thing that I really felt was extremely important is the ethical decision making, which brings in a very inclusive culture within the organization. These three leadership traits felt shaped the whole the way that I looked at my HR career very well, and I would attribute this to my professors when I was doing my MBA. Lovely mentors that I had around, and I do come from a family of highly qualified professionals who are also guided and shaped me over a period of time, so including my own parents. So that actually helped me to give that push into succeeding as an HR professional.
Nice to hear, ma'am. Now, since you have explained about being a catalyst, this question strikes me. I'm sure we just celebrated the International Women's Day on March 8th. Even though we celebrated the International Women's Day, there are multiple occasions where I myself have felt, or otherwise I have heard from multiple my colleagues saying that even though we follow the equal employment opportunity, we focus on multiple philosophies, but still there are few organizations who still resist or resist to take female employees. So what is your opinion, or like what is your suggestions on the DEI? And being a woman, what do you feel about that?
Absolutely beautiful question. And I would love to answer this question. Right from what it was 20 years back, right from when I actually started my career till today, the progression in ensuring we have women workforce within the organization has increased a lot. In fact, I was called to one of my factories to address women employees,
Nice.
and I was very happy and excited to say that 40% of my workforce are women.
Oh,
So, so what has happened in the last 20 years? I've seen a huge shift in the way employees, women workforce is seen within an organization, and I think that has been extremely progressive, right? So here, when I talk about equality or inclusivity, I'm not here talking about equality in strength or physical stature. I'm more talking about giving the same equal opportunities in for the mental abilities that both can bring onto the table, right? So a lot of times when I talk about in women forums, or when I generally talk about women workforce, there are people who get up and ask basic questions as to, can men and women be equal? In any forum, I would say no. Men and women are not equal. They are made with a different material than we are, and it's designed to be that way. But what here we are talking about is purely sticking to the mental ability of women to be able to bring the same things to the table, or sometimes even better, what men can bring to the table. So we're talking about equity here and not equality. And that is something that I have propagated right from day one within the organization. The second thing that I've also looked at is that organizations should be able to, empathize with the kind of roles that women assume as in their career, in their family, at workspace, in every single aspect of life. So at the end of the day, I am here I'm talking about women equality and us having given the same platform. But at the end of the day, when my daughter is sick, my son is sick, I'm required at home. That cannot change.
That's a
And
matter.
that's not going to change. But here, what we're talking about is how organizations can support these women. How can they, propagate, or in search of the right word, I would say that come up with policies or supporting environment that can help women to exhibit their mental abilities, and that's what is very important.
Super. It's nice to hear that 40% of the total workforce is women in your company. I wish that it will become 50 or more than that, in the future. Now, when you speak about the diversity in the same time, you have worked across multiple ethnicities and cultures. For example, in an interview, like we can ask a woman, what is your marital status, how many kids you have, what is your plan to increase your family, all those things. But if I'm going to ask the same question in US or UK, I will be sued very well. So when you are training, or like when you are working on your talent acquisition, what do you see, like, or what kind of insights you want to provide, which you have experienced while practicing this diversified work culture in multiple companies?
Absolutely, absolutely, a fantastic question. And more and more as globalization is hitting, and multinationals are setting up, more than globalization, I would say globalization, right? Where we are global and still local. It's a very good saying that always comes in most of the mergers, acquisitions that we do, cross-cultural programs that we work on, projects that we work on. It becomes extremely important for us. Now, let me tell you something. I was sent to the US to manage HR there for about 5 years. So it was a new territory. I had to unlearn whatever I learned here, the labor laws, all of it, and then go there and relearn DOL and what are the laws there, laws of the land, and so on and so forth. What I actually understood with my this experience, and I've worked with Danes, I've worked with Europeans, I've worked with many other ethnicities as well. So what I have understood is there's always two levels of cultures an organization will have. The local culture, where the organization is prevalent, is thriving, where they're doing their business. That's the local culture. And there is an organization culture that comes in, the DNA of the organization. What is the organization made of? Now, these two can be different from each other, but at certain point in time, they need to merge.
Correct.
There will be a midpoint where the local culture, the culture of the people, what the state or the country or the locality stands for, and what the culture of the organization is, the DNA of the organization. What are their core values that has to somewhere merge? The moment this goes parallelly, then there is no end to it. So now you can see the importance of HR. HR plays a very pivotal and very important role in ensuring they identify that midpoint and ensure that the organization and the local cultures merge somewhere. And that is something that I could, to some extent, bring about when I went to the US, trying to merge the DNA of the organization as well as considering the local culture. And somewhere we could meet, and then wonders happen.
Oh my goodness. While hearing this itself, it's giving me goosebumps and, chakras in my head. Now, you have done it means it's a great thing. Now, I understand that being from the HR fraternity, there are a lot of efforts we put in, right? Now, for example, when the company needs the talent acquisition, or like when the company is not moving the right direction, we put our foot and say that no, this is what has to be, and these are the strategies we are supposed to implement. Mostly, the HRs are behind the screens, even though they are heroes and heroines, but still they could not be put it in the limelight. They're not shown in the limelight basically. And if you see, most of them are feeling that they are not recognized. Their job is not appreciated. Now, what do you feel about, or like, do you think it is important for an HR system to evolve, and the assessment benchmarking and a kind of recognition through certification or some awards is required or not.
That's why organizations like you are there, who are bringing HR to the forefront. But having said that, ideally speaking, I don't think today we are in the behind the scenes model anymore. It did start that way, right? Um, let's take the Oscars or any other awards, right? Today, can you say that the way the awards started, the importance that they gave the heroes and heroines of the movies or any of the plays or anything, it's the same thing that happens today? No. Today, the behind the screens people also get as much recognition and importance as the rest of the crew gets. Similarly, I think HR has evolved over a period of time where, and initially we started off administratively. We were doing a lot of basic administrative things. Then I think we evolved more into creating policies, processes, procedures, aiding the organization to move forward, and so on and so forth. And then we again moved on. We created our own HRM systems. We went digital. We started having a strong ground on some of the processes that we brought in and how we can support business here, right? That was his third stage. And today we are in a stage where we have a space in the boardroom, right? We do our opinions do get heard at the C-suite, right? When the board takes the decisions, they turn around and look at the HR for an HR aspect to the decision that they're making. Now, this was not easily met, right? This had its course of challenges by the time we could reach there. So, to the youngsters today, budding HRs who are coming in with a lot of energy, Gen Zs as we call them, um, they have a lot of digital knowledge which we did not possess at that point in time. And with AI integration now, with every single system that we have, I think we can do a lot more. So, how can you be successful? Find your space in the boardroom is to ensure that you are able to bring about enough substance that will help business take their decisions. You have to be influencers of decision making at that level, at the board level, and then you will never become the behind the scenes, HR, rather the front runner, sitting equally along with your sales team, with your supply chain team, and with your finance team. You will have your own space there.
Good to hear, ma'am. I thought not to touch on the topic, but since you have spelled those words, what is your understanding about AI coming into the picture, as well as there are a lot of forums, there are a lot of people who speaks about AI, ASA, AGI, where they want to integrate the HR automations. There are one side of people who are saying that, AI coming into picture, HR are going to lose the job. On another side, you can hear from the HR saying that, no, the AI is really helping us to do our work much faster and better. Now, having this much of varied experience, what is your say, or like what is your advice? Rather, I would say, what is your suggestion for the youngsters, especially in this aspect?
Actually, a very, very important question in today's generation. If you see the Gen Zs or the future Gen Alphas coming in right now, they are born into the digital world. They understand everything with the digital environment. Uh, they create everything digitally. Gaming is the in thing. They do nothing without a gaming aspect to it. So with all of this happening within the industry, integration of AI becomes extremely important to be able to do your work faster. Now, to the point that you were talking about AI replacing some of the HR jobs, I strongly feel that's not true, right? So, what happens? What does AI do? It will actually help you, get away with redundant jobs, maybe. It will make us think more intellectually. The EQ part of us, AI can never replace. And HR is all about bringing out that EQ into the ecosystem. And I have always told this to my team members, to people who are young, budding people whom I go and talk to Sometimes I coach and counsel students in the HR field. I've mentored them. I keep telling them that don't fear AI. Rather, think of it as your best buddy that's going to just help you move forward faster, because your EQ, because it is formed through your intelligence and it doesn't have an intelligence on its own. So depend on your EQ, foster your intelligence further, and ensure you replace AI and AI does not actually replace you. So with that note, I would say that we are in for a very bright and amazing HR future with AI coming in.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on the HR practices as well as the AI intervention in nowadays with the market. And yes, that's for the day. And thank you so much for being a part of this interview.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so glad that I could share some of the views in your platform. I'm sure a lot of them viewing this will get some benefit out of it. Thank you again.
Thank you. HRs, I think that's a great and fruitful interview with Ms. Shoba, sharing her experience. Stay tuned with us for the next episode. Thank you very much. Nandri.